I gotta tell you, this is so much fun. I've been campaigning all day with Suzanne, my lovely wife, 2 of our 4 great kids, Anna and Grant. And I gotta tell you, the crowds have been unbelievable. And right now, this is the best. Come on now, Fairfax, let's go. Are you guys ready to win or what? You can feel it. You can feel it. It's happening all over the Commonwealth. Virginians are coming together like never before. This is a moment, it's a defining moment in the future of our Commonwealth. A moment where we get to redirect our trajectory up as opposed to down, where we in fact get to come together and celebrate the pursuit of a better life, the pursuit of prosperity, where we no longer have politicians who are more interested in their own career and their own life than yours who elected to send them there. I mean, the stories we have heard from parents standing up for their children just because in Virginia, parents have a right to have a fundamental right to say whether their children are going to learn this or learn that. Parents have a right to be engaged in their kids' education, and that's what we're standing up for right now. We're watching this. We're watching this happen in such an amazing way. It's no longer Republicans against Democrats. This is Virginians coming together, recognizing that this culture that's been trying to fundamentally challenge our belief that we should not shelve our hope, we should not accept low expectations. The Commonwealth of Virginia will not be a Commonwealth of low expectations, it'll be a Commonwealth of high expectations. I mean, it's our moment to come together for our children, for our grandchildren, for our nieces, for our nephews, for our neighbors. This is no longer a campaign. It is a movement being led by Virginia's parents. This moment we're in is unbelievably spread not just across the Commonwealth, but the nation. The eyes of the nation are upon us. Why? There's only 2 statewide elections, New Jersey and Virginia. And we all know that as Virginia goes, so goes the nation. Friends, parents all over the nation have been sending me notes and text. Our website's blowing up because they need us to vote for them. The same stuff that's happening in our school districts is happening in their school districts, and we have a vote, and we are about to send a message to the entire country. And let me tell you what that message is. That the left, liberal, progressive agenda that's been trying to take over our nation and take over the Commonwealth of Virginia is absolutely being rejected by Virginia. On one side of this ballot, on one side of the ballot is Terry McAuliffe. Terry McAuliffe, who believes that government should stand between parents and their children. Terry McAuliffe, who believes that government should force you to join the union. Terry McAuliffe, who believes that your employer should fire you if you don't get a vaccine and you should not get unemployment. Terry McAuliffe said that he wanted to make your life difficult. He wants to ruin your life, friends. Terry McAuliffe believes you can throw up taxes anytime you want because he thinks it's his money. I know it's your money. And on the other side of the ballot, while it has my name, it is all of you on the ballot. We're going to work for you. Friends, this is our moment to stand up for freedom, for liberty, against big government control. I mean, this is the spirit of Washington and Jefferson and Madison and Monroe and Patrick Henry. This is what Virginians do We do not follow, we lead, we do not settle. We must press forward for a better day. The Virginia promise hangs in the balance. The promise of a better life, the promise of prosperity, the promise of a Virginia where our children can learn what they need to learn but aren't told what they must know. What our children can in fact dream giant dreams, where parents and grandparents send their kids and their grandkids out knowing that when they go to school, they're going to come home as safely as when they left. Friends, this is the Virginia promise that hangs in the balance. And right now on Tuesday, November the 2nd, we are going to make a statement that will be heard around the world. Here we are, together, right here in Fairfax County. Friends, you don't understand. Everybody across this great Commonwealth asks me everywhere I go, Glenn, what's going to happen in Fairfax County? Let me tell you what's going to happen in Fairfax County. We're going to win is what's going to happen in Fairfax County. And this is just the beginning. This election, we're going to make such a statement. We are going to sweep our statewide offices. And we are going to see Jason Miyares become our next Attorney General. And we are going to see Winsome Sears become our next Lieutenant Governor. And we are going to take back our House of Delegates, electing Republican delegates all over Virginia. But friends, there's even something bigger going on, because we're going to sweep local offices too. Board of Supervisors, city councils, treasurers, sheriffs, school boards all over Virginia. School boards matter, and we all know it. We all know it. And friends, this is a moment for us. We are going to send a shockwave across this country. And there's not going to be a Democrat in any seat anywhere in this nation who's going to think that his or her seat is safe. This is where we are. Friends, I get asked all the time, Glenn, how are you sleeping? I say, thank you for worrying about my health. I'm sleeping like a baby. I wake up every 20 minutes screaming. Why? Because we're worried about Virginia's future. We're worried about our children. We're worried about the jobs of hardworking Virginians. We're worried about the safety in our communities. We're worried because our taxes are too high. We're worried about a government that doesn't work for us. It tells us what to do all the time. And we're going to put an end to all of it on November the 2nd. And on January the 15th, something amazing is going to happen. And I want you all to go on a walk with me. Because on January the 15th, Jason Miyares and Winsome Sears and I, we get to stand under Mr. Jefferson's portico. And we get to put our hand on a holy Bible. And we get to swear to God Almighty that we're going to protect the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of this Commonwealth of Virginia. And then we're going to walk down those stairs, and we're going to stop for a minute, and Paige is going to join Jason, and Terrence is going to join Winsome, not Terry, Terrence. And Suzanne's going to join me. And we're going to invite everybody else that has a desire to do so to stop for a moment of prayer. And we're going to thank the Lord for his guidance, for his protection, for his provision, for clearing a path for us to walk down. And then we're going to ask him to continue to help us and guide us so that we can do the work that needs to be done. And then we're going to say amen. And then we're going to work. And then we're going to work. And on day one, we are going to reduce the cost of living in Virginia by cutting taxes, because it costs too much to live here. We all know it. The cost of living in Virginia has skyrocketed. We're watching more people move away from Virginia to move to Virginia than the other 49 states. And the saddest part is the biggest group moving away are 26 to 35-year-olds. They're going someplace else to start their life, to fill their dreams. And it's most of the time Tennessee and North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Texas. Why? Lower cost of living and better jobs. Friends, I'm so tired of losing our best Virginians to move away. We're going to keep them all here. And yet the progressives in Richmond continue. They overtaxed us by $2.6 billion last year, and they're going to do it again this year. And I'm telling you, that's your money, not Terry McAuliffe's. And so on day one, we will declare the largest tax refund in the history of Virginia. We are going to eliminate the grocery tax. We're going to suspend the most recent increase in the gas tax. We're going to double everybody's standard deduction. And we are going to work for our veterans. One of the greatest things about this Commonwealth is that 1 out of 11 Virginians is a veteran. They make our community better. They understand that we all know that freedom is not free. And they stood up for us, and it's our time to say thank you. We're only one of a handful of states that taxes our veterans' retirement benefits. And so we're going to go to work and build up to $40,000 that we are going to exclude from taxes for our veterans so we can say thank you. Thank you, veterans. Over the course of the first year, this will save Virginia families of 4 nearly $1,500 in year one. My opponent's plans, hundreds of pages of policies, will cost Virginia families $16 billion. A $5,400 tax bill coming your way. Let me tell you, folks, he thinks it's his money. I know it's your money. And we're going to get the cost of living in Virginia down. On day one, we are going to reestablish expectations of excellence in our schools. When Terry McAuliffe was governor, 88 schools failed to reach their accreditation. And rather than fix the schools, all they did was change the scoring so not one would fail. Today, Virginia ranks 50th in the nation when it comes to the standards to progress in reading and math. Terry McAuliffe's education policy should be called Leave Every Child Behind, because that's what we're doing. The test results have been shocking. Shocking. This past spring, 55% of white children could not pass the 8th grade math equivalency test. 70% of Latino children. Over 80% of black children. Friends, the gap is wholly unacceptable. The order of magnitude of these numbers is just absolutely out of bounds and unacceptable. So we're going to work on day one, and let me tell you what we're going to do. On day one, we are going to announce that Virginia schools will never again be closed to 5 days a week in-person education. We are going to raise expectations in our schools and then fund in the largest education budget in the history of Virginia. We're going to raise teacher salaries, fund into facilities, and fund special education programs. Our kids with disabilities in Virginia have suffered mightily during this pandemic. And then we're going to launch the most aggressive charter school program in the history of Virginia. We must provide choice within our public school system. A child's destiny should not be dictated by his or her zip code. Virginia has 8 charter schools in the entire Commonwealth. Maryland has 140. North Carolina has 190. We have 8. The teachers' unions have been shutting them down for a long time. Well, let me tell you, on day one, we're going to launch 20 new charter schools, and that is a down payment to close this gap and give parents choice in Virginia schools. But we know it all comes down to curriculum. We know this. And so let me be very clear, Fairfax County. We are going to teach accelerated math in our schools. We are going to award advanced diplomas. We are going to teach history, all of it, the good and the bad. America's the greatest country on the planet. We have to teach our kids the greatness of America, but we also have to recognize we have dark, abhorrent chapters, and we must teach them too. We must know where we've come from to see where we are going. We will teach all history, but what we will not do, we will not teach our children to view everything through a lens of race and divide them into baskets and then make them compete against one another and steal dreams. We will not be a commonwealth of dream stealers. We will stand up and try to live to those great words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who implored us to be better than we are, to judge one another based on the content of our character and not the color of our skin. And therefore, on day one, I will ban critical race theory from being in our school system. On day one, we're going to stand up for law enforcement because they stand up for us. We're at a 20-year high in murder rate in Virginia. 20-year high. 4 of our great cities rank in the top 65 deadliest cities in America. Richmond at number 11, Norfolk, Hampton, Newport News. You can't pick up the newspaper without being absolutely just in tears of what's going on. My opponent doesn't care. When he was governor, the murder rate went up 43%. The rape rate went up every year. He would not even meet with the Police Benevolent Association, representing 7,000 law enforcement heroes who put a bulletproof vest on every morning to go to work. That's why 50 sheriffs have endorsed us. 4 have switched parties. We've been endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police, the Police Benevolent Association. Friends, they trust us. And so on day one, we're going to work. We're going to comprehensively fund law enforcement, higher salaries, better equipment budgets. We're going to fund training. We're going to protect qualified immunity. We're going to invest into our mental health system. It's broken for 8 years. We must have more capacity and more professionals. And friends, on day one, I will fire the entire parole board and start all over again. On day one, we're going to get this economy moving. Virginia's economy is stalled out. It's been stalled out for 8 years. Maryland, North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, over the last 8 years, they grew 70% faster every year than Virginia. North Carolina generated 8 times the jobs that Virginia has in the last 8 years. Tennessee, 6. Ford Motor Company just announced last month 4 new giant plants, 11,000 jobs, 2 in Kentucky, 1 in Tennessee, 1 in Georgia, none in Virginia. I am tired of Virginia losing, and I'm particularly tired of Virginia losing out to Maryland. My opponent, he lauds this record. Friends, 32 of his 79 economic development deals failed to create a single job. He went around and announced 14,000 jobs, only 7,000 showed up. 50% is not a winning record. In my world, if that was the record of a leader, you would not only fire them, but you would never consider rehiring them as the leader again. So we got to go to work on day one, so hear me very clearly. On day one, I will announce that Virginia is open for business, never to be locked down, shut down. We're open for business. We're going to protect our right to work. We're going to protect the ability for workers to choose to join the union. Of course, Terry McAuliffe is already sold out. He promised that he would sign the bill when it came to his desk to get rid of right to work. The unions bought and paid for him millions of dollars into his campaign. Folks, I am not bought and paid for. I will do what's right for Virginia and protect our right to work. But we got to get growing. So on day one, we're going to cut 25% of job-killing regulations. The code in Virginia is 37,000 pages long. Try printing that out at home and reading it. We got to cut this. We're going to have a 12-month tax holiday for small business. Keep your profits and invest in growth and employment. We're going to get Virginians back to work is what we're going to do. We're going to have job training so that you're either career ready or college ready. And we've got to get Virginia innovating again. We're ranked 49th in the nation as best place to start a business. Not to pick on those from Connecticut, but only Connecticut is worse. I don't want us to be Connecticut. Friends, we have to have incubators and accelerators and form capital and cut the paperwork so that entrepreneurs can actually live their dreams here in Virginia versus going to Nashville or Raleigh or other places. Friends, we have a plan together. And by the way, let me be clear. Governors do not create jobs, businesses, and people do. And therefore, it's my job to partner with all of you, and we have a plan to generate 400,000 new jobs, foster 10,000 startups. We are going to get Virginia back to work and growing again and lift up everybody in this great Commonwealth of Virginia. Friends, on day one, and it's going to be a busy first day. By the way, there's a day 2, 3, and 4 coming. But on day one, we are going to make government work for us and stop telling us what to do all the time. It starts with our constitutional rights. They've been trampled on. We know it. Our First Amendment rights, our Second Amendment rights, our 10th Amendment rights. I knew this governor doesn't understand our First Amendment. He opened up ABC stores and kept my church closed. He lets the FBI come into Virginia and silence parents when they're standing up for their kids' rights. Jason Miyares and Winsome Sears and I are going to go fight for you against big government overreach, and we're going to push back using the 10th Amendment like every other Republican-led state in America. But it all comes down to one thing, folks. I have a pet peeve. I can't stand inefficiency and waste, and here I am going into government. So on day one, we're launching a government-wide audit. We're going to root out fraud and raise transparency. And the first two departments we're working on are the Virginia Employment Commission and the Division of Motor Vehicles. We're going to work. And I want you to know, this is how you're going to test our success. Down the road, you're going to call the DMV, and two things are going to happen. Number one, someone's going to answer the phone. And number two, they're going to say, "Hi, how may I help you?" This is about government that is in fact for the people, of the people, by the people, not telling the people what to do all the time. Friends, this is our moment right now. We can see it 3 days away. 3 days away. It is ours for the taking, but it won't get here without us doing the work. Now, I know you've seen there's been a few good polls lately, and I think about it like this. It's kind of like Terry's driving 40 miles an hour around the Beltway, and I'm coming around 65, passing him on the outside. But friends, polls do not win elections. Votes do. Votes do. And this is not about me, and this is not about Winsome, and this is not about Jason. This is about us getting this done together. And we need your help. We need your help right now. We need your help to step up and recognize that a democracy is not a spectator sport. It's an active, involved form of government that requires all of us to get in the arena together, to get in the arena and make change happen. So I got to ask you 5 things. Number one, you must get out and vote on Tuesday. You must get out and vote. And for those of you that have already voted, I need you to go get 10 friends and get them out to vote. And let me tell you, those 10 friends shouldn't be here right now. And let me also ask you to make sure that they're going to vote the right way before you bring them out. Second thing we need is get one of these red signs and put it in your driveway. God. You should see these red signs all over Virginia. It's a permission slip for people to drive by and say, "Well, I'm going to vote for him too." Everywhere we go, there are red signs. I was in Charlottesville, Virginia yesterday. There are red signs everywhere. Everywhere. I didn't think there were any Republicans in Charlottesville. Third thing we need from you is we still need volunteers, folks. We do. We need folks who will absolutely help us staff the precincts. We need people who will be observers. We'll train you. We need folks that will pass out sample ballots. We need people to knock doors and get the vote out. Please go to Fairfax County GOP and sign up. This is not a moment where you say, "Well, maybe I can find time." I need you to make time. This 2 hours, 4 hours. We need volunteers. On Election Day, we're going to have 2,540 odd precincts open. We have more volunteers than we've ever had, and this is the movement. It is not about watching something happen. It's about being part of something that has happened. Fourth thing we need is we need ambassadors. We need ambassadors. Jason and Winsome and I, we've been interviewing for this job with 8.5 million Virginians. We're asking you to hire us to go work for you. But we haven't met everybody yet. So please send a note out, an email, a text, make phone calls to everybody you know. You know what we're going to do? We're going to reduce taxes. We're going to have the best jobs, the best schools, the safest communities, government that works for us. Spread the word, and let's get everybody out and win this thing. And finally, I don't want to presume where anybody is in their own faith walk, but if you have a prayer list, put us on it. This is the time. Friends, here we go right now. This is the time for us to close this thing out. We must finish this. We must win for our kids, for our grandkids. And let me tell you, on that 15th day of January, and I know I speak for Jason and Winsome and for every one of the delegates we're going to elect, we are going to go work for you all. And I'm going to have the overflow of a sense of honor, an overflow of a sense of humility, an overflow of a sense of opportunity for all of us to go work for all of you as the 74th governor of this great Commonwealth of Virginia. God bless you all. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I got one last thing. Do you see this really cool bus? Okay, this cool bus has been all over Virginia, and we have a few more stops to go. It's going to make its way all the way down into Southwest Virginia. I need you all to come sign the bus. You sign the bus, you all go with us. We have tens of thousands of Virginians everywhere we go because you are on